If you've been with me the last few times, I know that the last couple of lessons were a little bit long, so we're going to try to really make this one short, and it's going to be kind of a broad overview of the book of Job. I really want to kind of point out the dialogue that takes place between Job and his three friends, or four friends, if you want to call them friends. They call themselves friends. They come to try to help Job and to comfort him, and he ends up kind of saying, you know, y'all are horrible at this. Like, y'all done a pitiful job at trying to comfort me and to lift me up and encourage me. They have this type of restrictive theology in their way of thinking. I encourage you to read Job 3 through 37. You can break that down over the next few days. Read that. Listen to some of this dialogue that takes place as Job's really trying to explain, like, I don't know why this is happening, and his friends are trying to tell him what's happening because this ... But they have this very restrictive theology, and they struggle with something that in seminary they taught us as Deuteronomic formula. Basically, it boils down to you believe that if you do good, God will bless you, and if you do bad, God will curse you. How many people do we know that still struggle with this type of theology and mindset, when clearly Scripture, that's not the case? Look at the life of Job. Look at the life of the apostles. Look at the life of Peter and Paul. These men sought God and loved God, and yet struggled day in and day out. Look at Christ, his example. And so I think that we look at trials and we have to kind of look at them through the right perspective. We learned that all through those chapters 3 through 37, there's kind of this twisted view of trials. And God really kind of sets things back into perspective when he comes on the scene in chapters 38. But for me, a trial is just anything that breaks the pattern of our own personal comfort zone so that we have the opportunity for growth. I think that some of our biggest strides in our Christian faith occur in the midst of trials and struggles and just kind of those storms that come our way. But I have learned personally that God is not as concerned with my comfort. That's really not the most pressing thing on his agenda, is if I'm comfortable. What he is most concerned about is conforming me to his image. And you see that that is what is taking place in the life of Job. At the beginning, we know that he's an upright man, but at the end, Job's able to proclaim, I've heard about you, but now I've seen you with my own eyes. And so we know that there's growth that takes place throughout this book, and it is incredible growth. And so maybe you find yourself in the midst of a trial. Just be thinking about that. How do you view how God handles and allows things to occur in your life, these trials? Because if you look at it with the right perspective, as James tells us, that these trials produce things in us. Take a look at that. Perhaps God's just conforming you more to his image, is a better way of looking at those trials in your life. So I encourage you, those trials, they come and go, but to look more like Christ at the end of them, man, what a blessing. So hang in there. Don't forget to subscribe to the blog and to follow along on the YouTube channel.